Malt Scotch for Dummies.
What are we doing?
And this is a crazy looking, good looking bottle.
It is a crazy good looking bottle.
Hello, lover.
This is all the way from Scotland.
Hand carried across the pond
From Leith.
by this guy.
It is, yes. I mean, it's been sitting here for a while, right? I mean,
It has been for 2
months.
months.
It was like freaking a year.
But guess what? It's open now.
It's open, and we are going to taste it tonight for the first time since Scotland. So this is a more reviving than smelling salts bottle. It's actually, and Mark will actually talk about the numbering system, but it is actually 29209. The 29 number means Lafroig. The 209 is the cask number. And it is 50.1 ABV, so it's going to be a little hot, boys.
One of 258 bottles. So
it was actually November 26, 1998. And so what's the deal with the numbering system?
So this was distilled in '98, right? The Scotch Malt Whisky Society, which is what this independent bottler is. They don't like to put the names of the distilleries that they grab their casks from, that they purchase their casks from, because they don't want you to be concerned about the name of the cask, or the distillery, I should say. They want you to be more concerned about the juice and what's in it. So they do this great little write-up on. Their labels are really very informative. They're very transparent. There's a ton of information on the labels. It's just not the name of the distillery. Instead, they put a number 29. Well, there's websites out there you can do your research and find out the 29 equates to Lafroig.
Yep.
209 means it's the 209th cask that the society has purchased from Lafroig.
They like
So, yeah, they like.
So they're
like
really
Lafroig.
creative in their description.
Right.
So read that off.
Yeah. So go on.
You need to read
Yeah,
it. I got my
this is
specs
your
on for this
bottle.
stuff.
Read the
Who
description.
doesn't like
Drew
number
bought this,
29?
and I
Come
think
on.
I love Drew tonight.
Wow.
So here's the description: a maritime nose of seaweed, rock pools, and kippers. The palate has fennel, shrimp, oak, vanilla, and chocolate with peach smoke, medicinal herbs, and ash.
And I'll have a glass,
And
please.
I will take a pour of that.
I
my
will
good
pour
friend.
that all night
I
long.
don't even want kippers and
A
ash.
19-year-old,
Kippers and
right?
ash.
Price point on this, I want to say was like 99 pounds.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
think it was up there a little bit.
Water clear.
But it's 50% ABV, right?
Yes, it is.
So
50.1. Yep.
That's another important thing to note about the society.
Okay.
All their bottles come from single casks. So
Oh, that's good, man.
everything in this bottle came from one cask and one cask
I can
only.
smell it.
There's only 258 bottles that came out of that cask. So the
It
good
smells
news
shrimp
is
from here.
We have one.
we've got one. The bad
Shrimp
news is
soup,
it's hard for you to get
shrimp
one.
gumbo. That's all. I can say,
Literally,
but
I can smell shrimp from here.
Yeah,
Really?
that's disturbing.
All
How
right.
about that?
Like crawfish boil.
Oh man, there's some ash in this.
That's a whiskey gasm right there.
It's a good thing you are half behind the bar, I guess.
Good lord. You know what's funny, and now you're gonna laugh, but
Oh my God.
I actually do kind of smell like shrimps.
I'm
Like,
telling
I'm
you,
not kidding.
That's what I smell. It smells like fresh
some
shrimp.
subliminal issues. And,
I don't get any shrimp, but
So
Well,
I got
when
like
you were-
iodine and then like a sweetness that overpowered the back end of it on the nose.
it's the sodium, it's the salt, and then we're getting.
I get the iodine and the seaweed and a little bit of that briny
Ash.
quality, and I do get some like
Seriously.
charcoal.
Yeah, I
salty.
get the ash when I'm smelling it from afar, but
Oh my god.
there's a
some
lot to the
cream,
nose,
vanilla.
obviously, yes.
You know this is a glass I could pour and just sit next to.
Oh,
it
yeah,
for a
just-
while.
right. Go through a whole game and on your PlayStation.
we're
Just
working
gonna
up
kill
the
some
nerve to
guys
take
real
a
quick.
sip or what?
I'll be back to
Don't
you
be
in
that
that.
guy.
Oh my god.
It's got a
Seaweed,
wonderful
huh?
nose though,
Oh my god.
and
It
it
definitely
smells.
has a maritime smell to it, right? I mean, it's
Oh,
some
yeah.
salt water.
And for 50%, it's not too
Fishing.
hot on the nose.
Mm-mm.
You know,
Who's got kippers?
I don't know what kippers are.
I was gonna say I don't know.
I actually grew up on kippers. I know.
Wow.
Well, what the hell is it?
It's a fish. It's
Yeah.
sardines, like sardines.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a little
say
fish.
sardines.
But you
Well,
put
it's
it
not a
on.
sardine.
You put it
Son
on
of a bitch.
toast
Don't be
with
that
some
guy.
butter, and you fold it together, and you eat it.
The ash
Delicious.
is still hanging in. Like I took a sip and
Okay.
it had sweet and it had a little bit of that iodine and then it was just like that carbon.
The carbon.
It smells
Coating.
strong. It smells strong.
So it I don't get a lot of sweet on it. It does taste like a classic Lafroig with extra strength and maturity.
That's
I
delicious.
got the kippers on the tail though.
Oh wow, what is that tail?
I'm getting kippers. Salted.
You know what?
It's smoked salted fish.
The second sip, the ash isn't nearly as strong.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I got a real strong ash aftertaste.
Yeah, I did too. After the first sip, it was like eating a piece of
But there's
carbon. You know what I mean? It had that.
There's a sweetness in it too.
Yeah.
It's almost like an apple crisp, like a red apple sweetness to it, just the hint of it at the end.
But the
Maple
sweet
syrup.
comes out, and now I get like capers almost on the side, like that tangy.
Yeah, I
You
get
know
that
what I
tang on the
mean?
side of your tongue.
I got it.
Yeah.
So when
Man.
that second sip went in, the smoke I got like maple syrup. That
Maple
kind of
syrup.
a strong sweetness, but
Thick, sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then that disappeared back into other things.
Yeah, the ash isn't nearly as strong with the second sip.
Campfire, boys.
That's damn good.
Campfire. I mean, this is like a cigar freaking malt right here.
Yeah, it is damn good. I'm close to being ready. I need to put a little water on it, but I mean, if I had
Ready for a
Oh.
cigar or ready for a.
Yeah, right. Ready for another glass.
I mean,
Let me do another nosing on this.
after you guys go home tonight, I can tell you what's going to happen in my
Oh.
It
house.
does have a linen smell to it right now too. I'm getting some like cotton too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's probably a little of the alcohol burning off probably.
Well, and the fact that you put it on your palate now
it lets you get some of those
changes the
other.
nose.
Because I don't get nearly the smoky qualities now that I've had a little bit.
Right. No, it's a bit on your tongue.
I'm actually looking forward to the water. I think it's going to help blend it.
Uh,
50% is pretty good. 50 ABV.
I feel like I'm going to have a glass and then have another glass with some water on
Me
it.
too.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And then another glass with a cigar, and then another glass with some pork nachos.
I'm going to do the Food
Um,
Quake tour.
Food
Hey,
Quake.
Doug.
Food Quake has a unique.
So while we're pontificating on this, go ahead and click subscribe because you know you want to, and then click the bell because that way you get notified of every time we post a
Which
video.
is every Thursday, by the way. Go live.
This is a really
See,
light
think-
I
color.
think water made it a little more barbecue-y to me.
Well, I
Oh
was going
yeah,
to
it's
say
kind
that.
of tangy.
I mean,
Where'd that come
Tangy
from?
sweetness.
It's actually, I'm actually a little negative in the water, believe it or
What?
not. Yeah, it hurt the nose for me.
Oh, not me.
I don't know about
I
that.
get a. It's
No,
all
I get-
tangy. I like that.
It's not as nosy.
It's
Ooh.
definitely got a sweet character now.
Mm.
I don't know. The palate's pretty good with water.
A little dry apple.
It's blended. Yeah, it's blended down. The alcohol
I-
definitely
I
burned
feel
off.
like this whole glass needs to sit for about 10 minutes and chill.
It
Absolutely.
totally
I-
does. It
it-
deserves some time
It
by
needs to
itself.
introduce itself to the water.
It
The
needs to
water
sit in
needs
the
to warm up
corner.
to the scotch.
You need to
You
sit
know
in the
what
corner
I
and think
mean?
about what it's done for a while.
Yeah.
The scotch needs to bend the water over.
Right. You know?
All right.
I mean, it's got to throw its line
Who's up?
at it.
I'm
you
ready to
know?
point.
Who's going?
Who's it going to
Wow.
point? I'm ready to go.
All right, Wheelhouse.
Do it, man.
So this is absolutely my wheelhouse.
Really?
This has rich flavors. It has bold smoke. It has, all that. So since I'm the first, we'll go through it. So the nose was initially that char, that ash. Once you put it in your palate, then the nose completely changes. You get the linen. You get that. It's amazing how putting that on your palate changes the way your body represents the nose. I don't get any barbecue. It's not as sweet as I would have expected, but the balance. Once you add water, it's really nice. I probably need to take another nose on it. Oh man, it's good stuff.
Get some barbecue, some
I'm not
blueberry
getting. It does sweeten it up a little when you add the water. Maybe it brings down the alcohol a little bit and changes that. I'm going to go with a 3.5 on this, mainly because in the short time we have to review, I don't think I've touched the surface on it. Because every time I
I know
go
you
back in the
haven't.
glass,
You haven't.
you taste something a little different, and that takes experience.
Yeah.
It takes time. I know some of the Scotch reviewers will do a full tasting before they ever do the review to be able to do that, and we don't have time for that with the way we do ours. So I'm going to go 3.5. This is a great bottle with intense complexity that we can't represent here tonight.
Yeah,
Or who's ever off.
I can go. That's fine. So let me say this first: is that I think it's fair to say that there's a lot of reviews we've done where we did not do justice on the Scotch letting it sit. I'll be the first one to admit that.
Yep.
However, we are consistent in every review.
Right.
And one
that's true.
thing we do is we try to do the same smell. We give the same Scotch, the same fairness as everything else. So
Right.
if you put it in that playing field and look at what we have here, this is a 3.5 for me. And the reason I'm saying that is that it's not like so like, oh my God, I'm searching for what else is there. Oh, there's more things going on. It's not that. But boy, is it a Laphroaig? It is totally a Laphroaig.
Yeah.
You get that
Yeah.
peatiness, that smokiness,
Yeah,
the
right.
ashiness. You get what you're expecting out of Laphroaig, and then some. There's something else going on with this one. So it's definitely worth 3.5 for me. The nose, the water. I think the water hurt it for me a little bit, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I think that I would prefer this one neat, but I also think that it's definitely one of those things you're gonna pour. We talked about it already. Sit in the corner, have time out for a little bit, come back to it, tell it's a naughty boy, and then you drink it.
You're in timeout.
You're in timeout. Obviously, it's a unique bottle. It's pretty cool. I'm glad we got a chance to experience it together. But it's a good Scotch. 3.5.
All right. I liked the water on it. I thought it brought out a tangy sweetness at first.
Okay.
Now that the water's had time to kind of introduce itself to the Scotch,
Hey, baby.
and now they're on the dance floor together. They're getting the groove on. It's really married up pretty nice, and it's still got a lot of the good flavors that I got on the neat glass, just subtler and more intertwined, I guess. This is a hell of a glass. I mean, it really, really is. And you can tell it's a Laphroaig. You get that island
Oh yeah, you know
kind
it is.
of
Laphroaig,
profile,
yeah.
but it's more than that.
It's subtle
You know, I
differences.
mean, it's got. When I took my first sip, it was ash, but then you get to the second sip and you're like, oh, where did you come from? I didn't even see you there.
Hello, Kipper.
So, that's one of the things that I love about the independent bottlers is it almost reintroduces you to distilleries that you really love and shows you different ways to look at them, I guess.
That's a good point.
So I like this bottle. It's going to be thoroughly enjoyed. On a side note, I really like the way we review because 99% of the people out there do not pour a glass of Scotch and set it aside and come back to it 20 minutes later.
Right.
They're
point.
pouring a glass and they're having a sip, just like we're doing here, and their initial impression
It's
is going to be the same as what we're getting.
Yep.
So I'm going to give it a 3.5. I really like this bottle.
Good point.
Thanks for bringing it.
I love it. What do you expect from Scotch water? Neat.
What?
I said, yeah, right. Neat. All the things you guys said. I got to be honest with you guys. When I smelled it neat, the first thing I got was iodine, and then it smelled like the Freud triple would to me. Right. I got that triple, and then I'm like, but wait a minute. The ash came in on the back end after that. There's a charcoaly ash, right? So there was layers on the nose, and I was like, wow. Then there's a lot going on here. And on the palate, same thing. Yeah, that first one was an ash bomb. You're like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. And then all of a sudden,
But in a good way.
yeah, it's not like I was going, oh my god, I got to scrape my tongue off. I could have drank it neat and enjoyed it. Got to put water on it to be fair, and I thought the water was good too. Honestly, put water on it, let it sit for 5 minutes while you guys were talking. Stuck my nose in it, and enough with the dancing. The Scotch was stripping the water down and bending over. I mean, I smelled linens, and I was like, what's going on in there, right? I'm like, hello, lover. There's a dance, a dirty dance going on in there, and it's good.
Somebody was baby in the corner.
So, honestly, I think the water did it justice. It didn't hurt it any. It changed it, but I enjoy the changed profile as well. So, I mean, good both neat and water.
Does anybody else feel like we should have been listening to Marvin Gaye while we did this?
I know, man.
I got a question for you guys. So, do they buy a cask from Laphroaig, or do they take a cask to Laphroaig and then fill it?
So that's
They sneak it in the middle of the night.
if you tune in to Thursday night, I've got a couple of questions that we will have a special guest of from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society on, and I'd like to ask because I honestly think I've heard or read that the review committee, when they're tasting out of a cask, they might taste something and be like, you know what, this needs another 2 years in a different cask.
Oh.
They might take that Scotch and put it into a different
So we don't
barrel.
know yet. Okay.
So I'm not sure. I know one thing, when they tap a cask and they say it's ready, that cask is going into bottles with nothing else. This bottle came from one cask and one cask only, and all 258 bottles came out of that cask, and that was that. I know
There you
that
go.
much.
There
But
you go.
What they do in those 19 years, I don't know. Did they just buy the liquid, or did they buy the liquid cask? Or I don't know.
Stay tuned.
Dun, dun, dun.
It tastes to me like
Dun,
this
dun.
is a Lefroy cask that has sat for 19 years because it doesn't have a lot of those sherry cask flavors or any of those other.
Oh yeah, it
things.
doesn't. It says
There's
it's
no
not.
malt. There's no char. There's none of that in
It's
there.
a refill hogshead ex bourbon. That's what it is.
Which in Lefroy uses Maker's Mark bottle or a cask
Right.
for their natural.
So it could be that.
We'll see.
We don't know.
Unless
All
they
right.
bought their own cask.
But
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the show.
Yep.
Subscribe, hit the like
Thanks.
button. Appreciate you every Thursday night.
I hope you guys
We're
can get
live.
a dram of this somewhere.
Bring your
Sláinte.
Marvin Gaye.
Bring
So one more time, 3535 35 35.
Round the horn.
35 it is.
Any dummy can do that, man.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Thanks.
Sláinte, boys. Highland Q.
Mm-hmm.